Hold on a second. I'm also simulcasting this. So that we're first off broadcasting on the number one stock station in Las Vegas. And the second thing I'm doing is simulcasting on Facebook. The third thing I'm doing is I'm also putting these recordings on YouTube. So if you type in Sidell Gateway Podcast or Miracle Sidell Podcast, any of those names, it'll pop it right up. Then you can subscribe, and guess what? Then you can listen to it also. So I just want to invite you to the show tonight. So I'm looking forward to this experience. Hold on a second here. Just getting things set up. It's funny, we just navigating in my life. We just had a family gathering at my house, and I had to step out and doing this radio show. So I just want you to know it's a pleasure to be here with you, both on the radio and on Facebook. Kind of interesting. And anybody who happens to be listening later on. Let's see here. Hold on one second here. Let's see. I'm just getting a couple of things set up right. That's all. So tonight I wanted to talk about a topic that I think is extremely important, and put on a little bit of music too, which is how do you and I, or how do people navigate through the aging experience? How do we navigate through this life as we physically move through it, physically, emotionally, spiritually, every way that you might think of? How do we make our way through it? What are we going to do? Oops. So I just want you to know it's something. I just happened to see somebody yesterday I hadn't seen for quite a while, and her comment to me, she's I think in her 80s, said that she felt so old, and she commented I was also older than when I saw her last time, which I am. I think it's been 10 or 15, maybe even 15 years. Hey Debbie, how you doing? But it really dawned on me that for all of us, well, every single human being alive, there's only really one alternative. Or you either die young, and then you don't show the evidences of aging, but you also miss out on some of the very best parts of life, or you're going to show aging one way or another. And I think it's only our vanity. And I'm all for, hey, listen, age as best and well as you can. But still, tonight I want to focus on the fact that we are on a journey. And everything, if you've lived for a while in your body, that's how I describe it, by the way, since I consider us souls, but we live in a body and express our lives through a body. So we're very attached, and we tend to identify with our bodies. Of course, that's normal. But if you've been living and experiencing, you've been living a while on this earth, then you know that your body's been changing since you've been a little kid. And I have a new little grandchild, and I'm holding him, and here he is, just wild. His eyes are lit up and encountering life and the magic and the wonder of it. And then all of us were like that too when we were that age. And now you are wherever you are in the journey. And the interesting thing about it is you don't know where you are in the journey. This morning, my phone, I don't know if you have an iPhone, your phone probably does this every now and then. It brings up a little movie. It happened to be of days, March 24th, which is today's date, going back over 7 or 8 years, maybe even 9 years, and just different photos that were snapped on March 24th. And on that was a fairly young man, actually in his early 50s, and he actually passed away last year, I think 2 years ago. And so I sent a copy of that picture to his widow, his surviving wife. And I said to her, and then she sent me back a text, and I told her when it was taken, because I knew it showed the exact date in my iPhone. And she sent me back a text saying, if he had known when that picture was taken, he only had 2.5 years to live, it would have been a shock to him. He would have been very surprised. And so, for each of us, I think, and I do think it's part of the plan, we may not think of it that way, but it's part of the plan, that we don't know our time on this earth. And because of that, I'll tell you why I think that's good, that we don't know. If you knew you're going to live to 110 years, let's say. By the way, I'm going to talk about it a little bit. My wife's great aunt lived to 109 and just a couple of weeks short of 110 years old. She passed away about 2 years ago. So I've known somebody that lived almost that long. If you knew you were going to live to, let's just say 105, and let's say you knew your health was going to be pretty good till 105, well, you might figure, I got plenty of time. Hey, Linda, how you doing? I got plenty of time. There's nothing I really have to do or worry about. I can get to that when I'm 60 or 70 even. So if you actually knew the amount of time you had, it might turn into a source of procrastination. Alternatively, if in fact if you said that you weren't going to live very long at all, then that would produce a whole different story. It might make you anxious and apprehensive. So all of these different things come with different possibilities in them. And so, what's I'm going to do here? So the bottom line is, for each one of us, we have to decide, how are we going to spend our time? What are we going to do? What is the way that we're going to use to make the best of this experience that we call life? Yesterday, I went to visit a place that I hadn't been to for turns out 8 years. And it's a place I have a lot of memories with, going back over 30 years. Hey, Christopher. How you doing? It's nice to see you on there, Christopher. Christopher, by the way, does a very nice podcast, too. It's, what is it? The Raw Truth, right? No, it's not The Raw Truth. What is the name of it? Put down the name of it on here, Christopher. But so for each one of us, we've got to decide where we want to go with this story called life. What are we going to make of it? And are we going to take the most, rawandunscripted.com. There you go, raw and unscripted. And it's fun. You know what, Christopher, I see a lot of your, just in the last couple of weeks, kind of funny. Literally the last 2 weeks, I've been watching some things on TikTok. Reasons don't really matter, but I really didn't even have it installed on my phone. But 2 weeks ago, I started watching it. And one of the faces that keeps popping up is Christopher. And you've got good advice there. And I've really appreciated some of the things you've been saying, Christopher. They've made a difference to me. And that's how we all lift each other up. And so tonight, yesterday, there's a place, like I say, I hadn't been to for about 6 or 7 years. And I woke up yesterday morning and thought, I'm going to go there today. It's about 75 miles away from home. So I got in my car and drove out there. And it turned into, honestly, I could say probably one of the happiest days I've ever had on earth. It just turned into a very magical experience. It's just one of those funny things. Totally unexpected, totally spontaneous, and absolutely magical. And it kind of, in fact, it almost felt like it turned my biological clock back by about 25 or 30 years. And I just felt all these feelings of love and joy pouring into my soul, and happiness and contentment. And it was really an extraordinary experience for me. Magical. I mean, like I say, one of the top, I'd like to think lots and lots of days are good. And there are lots and lots of days that are fantastic. And sometimes, but still, some certain days stand out. And this would be one of those days. And then I was driving back home, and I drove by the side of it. I went through the Lake Mead National Recreation Area. It was a beautiful sunset, beautiful sky, beautiful mountains. And I'd sort of forgotten, here we are in Vegas, and there's this beautiful national park right next to us. And I drove through the Valley of Fire. So it was really a fun day to just experience the magic and wonder of life itself. And so that's why I thought I wanted to share with you. But where I went, I had some pictures of myself going back a long time. And that's where I also saw, in fact, some back when I was like 30 years old. And the funny part about it is, so I was showing, I know this will come as a shock to you, but I don't look the same as I did when I was 30. Life changes, right? For all of us. And it's a reminder to me that just like that woman's husband that passed away unexpectedly, we don't know our time on this earth. So it really just kind of changed my priorities. Yesterday, I just thought, even though I'm aware of this, I've talked about it on the show before, it hit me on a deeper level yesterday than it has for a long time. That's very sweet of you. Thank you, Christopher. He says, I'm an excellent soul, family movie time, hugs and chat, hugs and keep shining. Enjoy those family movies. As I said, we have a whole family event going on, and I just stepped out of it myself. So I totally support that, Christopher. Go enjoy yourself. So, my friends, suddenly I was kind of flooded with this divine love. And I thought, for myself, maybe, I'm always looking for the next step of my spiritual journey. And somehow, some way, a kind of flood of inner love and joy came into my heart and gave me some clarity in my own life but how I want to live my life during the remaining time on this earth. And I hope it's quite a while, but I always say that, I also condition all my desires based on the will of God. And I understand that I'm not sure any of us really fully understand God's will. And each one of you are going to have to come to your own understanding of what you think that means. Everything from being an atheist to anything else. Everybody's got their own point of view. But the one thing I'm absolutely clear about is we are spiritual beings on a spiritual journey. That's one thing I've gotten real clear about. And so here you and I are on this journey. I've had two brothers died a lot younger than me, and one still alive and older than me. I had one brother die at age 48 from pancreatic cancer. And one of the things he said towards the end of his life, he says, you know what? We all have the things that come along that upset us, that separate us sometimes from people, that make us feel cut off. He goes, but the only thing that's really important is to come back to love again. Come back to love again. So tonight, I just want to make that the main message. Return to love. Just if you and I want to be happy as we age, if we can return to love and live in love, we're going to be happy. So I just want to invite you. We're going to go to a break in a second, but for those of you on Facebook, I'll do a kind of a meditational experience when we go to a break. But wherever you are and whoever you are that's listening, I want you to know that God loves you, I love you, and the best is yet to come for you. And if we could learn to dwell in that place of knowing that God loves us and the best is yet to come, think how different our lives could be, how wonderful they would be. So this is Robert Sidell. It's the Gateway Show on 6 to 7 p.m. live every Sunday evening on the number one talk station here in Las Vegas, and also simulcasting on Facebook and also on YouTube. And I'll be back in just a moment. Stay with me on Facebook. So my friends, but before I go on any further, while we're on a break, let's do a short meditational energy here. Wherever you are, whatever's happening in your life, let deep, deep, deep love come into your heart, mind, and soul. If you happen to be in a car listening, keep your eyes open, but everybody else, just relax. Whatever burden you might be carrying in your mind, your heart, and your soul, let it go right now. If you're carrying the burdens of this world on your back, release them right now. Just let them go. If you're trying to figure out what you need to do to find love and meaning in your life, just let it go right now. Dare right now as we speak to feel inner love and peace flowing through your mind, spirit, and body. Inner love, peace, and grace to your mind, spirit, and body. Dare to know yourself as an infinite, eternal being of grace and love and joy. Dare to accept that you should be healed in mind, spirit, and body, and you are healed in mind, spirit, and body. Dare to know that miracles are your birthright. Grace is your birthright. Healing is your birthright. Feel this love in your heart, mind, and soul even as we speak right now. Release as we speak everything that separates you from God. If you have any guilt, anxiety, fear, worry, or doubt, release it to God right now. Just release it right now. Release yourself into God's eternal and infinite grace. You are forgiven and beloved right now. You are forgiven and beloved right now. Feel love pouring through every molecule of your body. Feel love pouring through every part of your soul. Feel yourself being recharged and rejuvenated in God's infinite love, infinite healing, and infinite grace. May infinite joy and peace and grace watch over you now and always. Accept that you are forgiven and beloved of God, even now as we speak. Dare to know that the best is yet to come in your life. New possibilities that you never imagined. All right, let's take a couple deep breaths. We're going to be coming back from the break in just a second on the radio station. Just remember, you are beloved child of the infinite creation of God, a beloved creation in whom God is well pleased. Just listening to this announcement. Sorry, I'm just listening to the radio for 1 second. Here we go. Good evening, this is Robert Sidell. I welcome you back to the Gateway Show on every Sunday evening, 6 to 7 p.m. live on the number one talk station and simulcasting on Facebook as well. A great pleasure to be here with you tonight. I was just sharing the topic tonight is how to navigate through this life as we are aging beings, as we get older. I don't know if you've noticed, you don't actually get younger. But by the way, sometimes we do get better. There's 2 or 3 parts of my life where physically I'm better than I was 5 years ago. I'll just give you one small example. I used to have to wear contact lenses, and since I was like 12 years old, but now I had cataracts taken out about 3 years ago now, and they installed a permanent lens in my eye. It has 6 levels of focus, and guess what? I don't have to wear any reading glasses. I don't have to wear anything. I can see great all the time. So you know what? I got upgraded. And I could give you 4 or 5 other, and there's something else kind of interesting. At some point, quite a few years ago, I ran a little too much on a treadmill and got myself to the point where I actually injured my knees a little bit. And so if I started to run at all, my knees would start hurting. Even if I started to work on an elliptical machine, they hurt. So I kind of gave up, and it was hard for many years. I didn't have what I would call very good aerobic exercise, and that had been my system for exercise. Well, about a year ago, I actually went back to the gym, and I found a Stairmaster machine, and guess what? Hey Ernie, I can work on a Stairmaster machine, and it doesn't hurt my knees. So now I can get my heart rate up and keep it up high enough for a long enough time that I get a real burst of oxygen and energy and probably endorphins and everything else. That's an upgrade. I thought that was part of my past, but it wasn't. So my question for you tonight is, what do you think you're too old for? What do you think's behind you that really may not be? What have you given up on in your life that you think it's not possible for you, that really could be possible? What good things are waiting? It doesn't really matter what age you are. There's so many stories of people that at various ages, later than you might expect, accomplish amazing things. Most of you probably heard about Colonel Sanders, who started Kentucky Fried Chicken. That was a retirement project for him. He was 65 years old. And he had, I'm sure money was different than it is today, but he had a $35 a month pension. So even no matter how much different it was, he didn't want to live on that income. And so he got in an old car, old station wagon, started driving around the country, trying to sell his chicken recipe to people. And as I've heard it, he was turned down approximately 1,000 times. That's a lot of times. I don't care who you are. That's a lot of times to have somebody say no. Nice old guy, but we're not interested. So he just kept going and going and going. And then finally somebody said, sure, we'll try it. So that launched the beginning of what we call Kentucky Fried Chicken, which I guess they now call KFC. I think it's still out there. It was till recently anyway, as far as I know. And so listen to this. This same guy that at 65 felt like he was broke and had not enough money to live on even. On his 89th birthday, listen to this, he invited 13,000 people to his birthday party. Hey, Debbie, 13,000 people. Think about that. 13,000 people. From a guy that was 65, broke, and out of work, he followed a dream. Oh, Debbie says she just had KFC. Well, you had that because he didn't give up on his dream. So you're actually stimulating me to think, what dreams do I have that have given up on, or maybe not, but not putting enough attention to? I'd rather say that. I don't really think, but maybe there's things I've given up on. But what part of your life, what could you do wherever you're at? If he could do that at age 65, most of you are younger than that listening, and some are older than that. There's so many stories. I'll give you another story. It's kind of an interesting one. Some of you, a lot of people don't know these people anymore, but probably some of you remember when you go to the airports, you'd see the Hare Krishna dancers, and they'd be sometimes handing out books and things like that. The Hare Krishna group. They often had a ponytail on the back, and they would be dressed as Hindu monks. But anyway, the guy who founded that, and this is kind of funny, it's sort of humorous in a way, he got in some kind of dispute with his wife. He was in India, and she threw out some of his treasured religious books. So I guess for him, that became a reason for him to no longer stay there. So he left and came to the United States on just a trampliner, just a very inexpensive, like almost free, to get here from India. And I think he showed up in like 68 or something like that. And all he had was a few books and about 10 or 15 bucks. And he showed up here in the United States, but he had one thing. He had a passion for his religious path, which was the Krishna path, as he taught it and knew it. So he went to He went to Central Park in New York City. He started chanting, and sure enough, other people started joining in with him, and then more people, and then they started having feasts on Sunday nights, and the next thing you know, one thing led to the next, and it started a whole movement. And then beyond that, he started opening up temples, and he only lived, I think, that was like age 70. He lived, I think, to like 82, is my recollection. Just about a little more than 10 years. But in those 10 years, his entire mission reached all over the world. This is a guy that had never accomplished any of that. He started that at age 70. Now, of course, it's the old story of the bamboo. I don't know if you heard of the story of the bamboo. This is actually a true story. If you plant a bamboo plant, the first 4 or 5 years, you got to keep watering it, and it doesn't grow much at all. In fact, it may basically not grow at all. And then suddenly, in 1 year, it might grow 50 feet. So the old question is, was that bamboo growing for 5 years, or was it growing to just grow a lot in the last year? Well, and the next lesson from the bamboo is, if you're in the 4th year and you walk away and give up, you're going to miss all the fruit and all the benefit, all the good stuff, the 50 feet of growth. So anyway, whether he had started his devotion and his religious journey many years earlier, and this is just bearing fruit, but however it happened, guess what? It started for him at age 70, and his life just took off, and he's affected millions of people. So there's no reason for you to think, wherever you're at in your life. I'll give you, this is a personal story of my family. My parents got divorced when I was like 16, and although they eventually became pretty close friends, but still they never got remarried. But my dad was single around age 81. He'd gone through a relationship, but didn't work out, and he's kind of looking for something new in his life. And in fact, he was kind of saying, he made little jokes on his 80th birthday that he wasn't even buying green bananas, and because he was thinking, how long is he really going to live? And because he just broken up in a relationship. Well, anyway, so he had, his house was in an earthquake. Sorry, I didn't spit this out right. And he had to call. He decided to make a claim. This was in the 90s with BLM or FEMA, not BLM, FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management, and it's even kind of complicated, but I'm not going to tell the story of why he ended up doing that, but he happened to meet somebody in an airplane that encouraged him to do it. So he thought, well, okay, I'll do it. So he called FEMA, set up an appointment, and somebody showed up at his house. To check out his house and the damage that happened from the earthquake. Well, he opened the door, and in front of him was a beautiful young woman who was literally, get this, 40 years younger than him. He looked at her, and to him he saw a vision of beauty. And she was pretty, actually. I have pictures of her, of them together, actually. And he said, well, how would you like to go on a date tonight? Before she left. And she said, sure, why not? So they went out that night. And guess what? That started a whirlwind romance. They started traveling all around the world. And they even eventually got married. That's at age 80. 82, actually, in his case. I think by the time they actually got married, he was 82. So, my friends, you think you're too old? You think the past, the life, you're too old for the best stuff that life has to offer? You're not. As long as we're breathing, we have a chance to no love and no grace, and even the grace of God. And see, for me, just even yesterday, the experience I had that was so beautiful and magnificent was a reminder to me that we are eternal beings with an eternal God that loves us more than we could ever imagine. And we don't really have to carry the burdens of the world on our shoulders. I know we think we do sometimes, and we worry about it, and we read things in the news and hear things. I get affected by those things too lots of times. But you know what? What really hit me yesterday is there's a spiritual path even beyond that. There's a flood of love that is so magnificent and so complete that it begins to bring you into, it's like an experience of falling in love. It's so profound, so complete, so total. It just completely changes the quality of your life on every single level. And then yesterday I had the grace of being in that state and remembering it and kind of tuning more into it than I had for a while in certain ways. And here I am, I'm in my early 70s. I had encountered a divine love that is a miraculous love, a changing love, grace-filled love. And so what I want to say to you is wherever you're at in your life, whatever's happening in your life, the best can be yet to come. You have to hold that in your heart, hold it in your soul. And you can come into a relationship with God, the infinite power of love and grace, in ways that you could never imagine and never even dream about. Think about that. Just let that thought into your mind. Let it percolate through you. You could come into an experience of love, divine love that is so profound that this love could turn into a heaven for you, a heaven on earth. And you could begin to bring that love into all your relationships, your work, your family, your friends, your loved ones. So that's my invitation to you tonight. You want to age well? Dare to know that there's an infinite presence of love knocking at the door of your life, waiting to have you say, I'm open, I believe, I'm willing. So this is Robert Sidell. It's the Gateway Show. We're going to go to a break. I'll be back in just a moment. Those of you on Facebook, stay with me. I'll be back in just a moment. You know what, my friends? Since we're on a break again, I'm going to go into a little bit of a meditational experience right now, just trying to share that infinite love with you right now. Annabelle saying, I was in Mexico City. CDMX. I was right downtown, actually, right in the center part of Mexico City. It was a lot of fun. I had a great time, Annabelle. But I'll come to that back in a minute. For those of you listening right now, join with me right now. I want to share with you what's been shared in my life with me. And I want you to feel an infinite love that's greater than anything you've ever known. Dare to let that love pour through your mind, your spirit, and your body. Dare to have it come up through your feet and your legs and up to your back and your spine, up to your neck and up to the top of your head. Dare to let that love pour in and out of your hands and your eyes and your ears, and just dare to open yourself to a supreme love that's surrounding you and filling you and blessing you. Right this second as we speak. A love that's greater than anything you've ever tried to reach for. And a love that you don't have to earn, you don't have to, it's there waiting for you. For you to simply say, I'm ready. I'm ready to know this love. God on a Harley. That sounds like fun. No, I haven't read that. Annabelle, I do. I'm glad you're connecting on, Annabella, and I'll love to talk to you more. God on a Harley. I wonder if that's the same. No, I'm not sure. We'll have to talk about that, Linda. So wherever you are right now, just let love pour into you right now. Dare to know that you have a divine purpose. And that divine purpose is waiting for you. And there's a knocking on your door. I think for all of us, we know that knocking. Those of that are listening, if you're listening to this show, on some level, you know that knock. Denise, very sweet of you send that. Saying that love. Send it out. Let's send it out seriously, each one of you. I'm totally committed to this. That's what hit me yesterday, in this magical day of my life, one of the very top days of my life. And leading to many, many days like that, or even greater in my future. But I started thinking, what do I want to make my real focus for the remainder of time I'm on this earth? And the focus I want to make is that I want to share as much love, divine love, as I can with as many people, or at least with the people who want to share it, as possible. Because I know, and you know this too, if we were to let that, oops, I guess we're about to go back on the radio now. Good evening, Mr. Robert Sidell. It's a great, great pleasure to be with you here on this Sunday evening. It's been a beautiful, like I said, yesterday, just a magnificent day for me, spending, communing with nature and God and grace, and just feeling such a beautiful ecstasy of existence and life and the magic and wonder of life. And then just really getting clear in my own mind, what do I want to make my life during the magical days I get? Each one of our light days as we age, we don't know how many more we get. Some people pass very young. I've had quite a few clients that have passed in their 30s, and certainly each year, each decade more people pass. And so, you know what? Let's make the best of these years in our life. Let's make the best of it. Let's create magic in our lives. Let's make magic be your path. How magical could you let your life be? Think about that for a second. How magical would you be willing to let your life be? How wonderful would you be willing to let your life be? How great could you imagine God to be in your life? Just sort of let those thoughts percolate in you. Thoughts can change the very programming of our minds. Think about it for a minute. How magical would you be willing to let your life be? Think about it. How wonderful could it be? What would it be like if it's so wonderful that when you wake up you can't believe you're so blessed? Doesn't that sound like a nice way to live? And I started thinking in my life, there's so many different things we can do to make a difference, but if I can create a deeper dimension of love for myself, which I've been working on a long time anyway. Actually, on that I've been working on literally most of my life. But the sharing of it, if I could just share more of that love, I think that's the way I can make the single biggest improvement in the quality of life. And so that's why I do this show, and I wrote my book, and all the different things I've been doing in my life. The book, The Gateway, I was just looking for a copy of it. Here it is, right here. Here's a picture of my book, The Gateway. If you haven't seen this book yet, or gotten a copy, I strongly suggest you get it. It's on Amazon.com. This book captures very simple ideas for success, like this idea for relationships. Focus on what works in your relationships. I could go on a lot more. Marriage saved by focusing on good qualities. This book has a lot of stuff, and I've had multiple people tell me it has saved their marriages. I've had other people tell me it saved their life. So I hear those kind of comments all the time. But see, my friends, I'm a big dreamer. I dream that you and I could unleash a love in the world that could change the world itself. But that takes somebody who's willing to have a big dream. Are any of you willing to hold a dream that big in your mind? That we collectively could open our hearts to a love that could change the very quality of life on this earth? Of course, not by ourselves, with the grace of the infinite presence of God, but that's the only way it could really happen. All right, Denise, all right. Okay, that's good. I'm excited. I mean, it's like, Linda's saying she has my book out for a second read. I give it out, copies out to my clients. Plus, if any of you are in town and want to come by, I'll give you a copy of it. But I want to tell you something. I always have them open to a page and read it to me, something in it. And when I give it to them. And it's so good for me to hear it, because you got to feed your mind every day. Just like me, seeing that little message right now in marriage. Focus on the good qualities of your marriage. You want to be happily married? Focus on the good that's there. Learn to be an affirmer of miracles and happiness. But so, what's a way to live? And I said, talk about aging. So, my dad lived to 99 years old, 99 and a half. He made it to the first day. He was born in 1913 and he died on the first day of 2013. So he was just about made it to 99 and a half. And he lived a very rich and vibrant life. As I said, you heard him, he was married again when he was 82. He went to Antarctica when he was 92. Believe me, the journey just kept going until he was no longer here. And he was a great role model to me. My mom loved life too. And she had a deep, deep love too. And she's a great spiritual mentor for me also. She's made a huge contribution to me. Absolutely huge. Huge. She's kind of a soulmate of mine in a certain way. And so she's made a huge, huge difference to me. And matter of fact, I want to share one thing. Talk about aging. Part of aging is dealing with life and death, right? We understand that. I want to share something to you about my mom. And I don't expect other people necessarily to have the same experience as me. And I would never judge anybody else's experience. But my mom and I were very close. We attended a lot of Zen classes together. We prayed and talked every single week until she died. And when she passed, I was flooded with so much joy pouring over me that I was absolutely, well, I guess I would say I was ecstatic for about 3 days. And it was just unbelievable. I remember going to a party and standing there thinking, how is this possible? I'm feeling so much joy. And then most people would say they've got to feel a lot of sadness when somebody dies. Now, I admit I had certain benefits here. She had lived a good life, a full life. And so I knew it was her time to pass. So it wasn't like I had a feeling that somehow I was cheated or something. So those things made it easier. I understand sometimes things can be a shock and maybe, it can be very traumatic for you. I get all that. So I'm not trying to judge anybody else. But I also want you to be aware of that I felt a living presence for her that was so strong and so magnificent that it could only be a sign of what a beautiful reality was beyond this. And so that forever changed my life. And I still, so that I could go into more detail than that, but that's what I want to say about that. So I just want to share that with you. And so both my mom and my dad were great role models. And both of them believed the best is yet to come and believed the magic and wonder of this life. It doesn't mean they didn't have health issues. Both of my parents had health issues before they died. I guess most people do. If you live long enough, you usually have some health issues. And yet, I never heard them complaining about it. And both of them still enjoyed their lives as much as possible. And my dad, a week before he died, he said, I don't know if I'm ready to go yet. I'm having too much fun. Of course, I'll just leave it at that. But he was 99 and a half. And at that point, he was blind in one eye and deaf in one ear and almost deaf in both ears, actually. And yet he's still saying he's having too much fun. That's a pretty optimistic thing. From a guy who asked out a woman that was 40 years younger than him when he was 80 years old and ended up getting married to her when he was 82. I traveled all around the world with her. I tell you, that's a sign that there's hope for all of us, wherever you are. And that's not necessarily any of your destinies. We're all different. We have different journeys. But the point is, you and I need to believe in the future. We need to believe in good. We need to believe in life. We need to believe in everything wondrous unfolding. So idea is just to walk through this life and feel better about it as you get older. One, I always say, and this goes, I'm trying to reinforce these 3 words every time. Faith, love, and forgiveness. Have faith in God, bring love into your heart, and forgive everybody, including yourself. If you do that every single day, you're going to lay the foundation for a fantastic life. It's kind of like Miracle Grow for the soul. And but I'm trying to focus on those 3 words every single time. You know what, Denise? Denise says she believes in life. I believe life. I posted something on Facebook tonight, a picture of a beautiful sunset that I took yesterday. This world is so wondrous. And if you don't believe that, just hold a little baby. I have a grandchild. They're so miraculous that I know it's intended as a gift. And I'm also totally aware that we have our problems in this world. The world's always had problems. But I think that what I want to say, though, is that you and I can make the greatest single difference by letting the greatest love come out in our hearts. And if we let the greatest love come out in our hearts, then we can change this world more than we could ever imagine. You want the world to be a better place? Try to be more loving. Try to be kinder to everywhere you go. Be quick to forgive and slow to judge. Practice the spirit of compassion. Compassion really makes such a difference. Compassion for the different places people can find themselves in life. Let's see something here. And just remember, I mean, and by the way, on compassion, the people you should have the most compassion for is you. You need to be, instead of being your own worst enemy, you have to become your own best friend. So if you're Denise, you have to believe that you need to love you for the person you are. Even if you sometimes feel, and you've never said this to me, I'm just saying this could be anybody. Even if you feel like you have some shortcomings in your life, or you should have done this, or should have done that, which most of us have some of that, or Linda, or Annabella, even if you have any of those kind of feelings, that's okay. But you have to have compassion for you. Let's say you're disappointed by something, or let's say your feelings are hurt, or whatever, by somebody. Your job isn't to beat yourself up for that. Your job is to have compassion for you, compassion for love, compassion for healing. If you have that, then you'll begin to heal your unconscious self. You'll take the barriers out between you and the eternal presence of God, the ocean of divine love. I want you to imagine there's an ocean of divine love just awaiting for you and I to learn how to access it, find it within ourselves. So my question for you, really, on all honesty right now is, are you willing in your own heart and mind and soul to find and experience that ocean of love which is closer to you than your own breath, closer to you than your own vision? It's just a matter of a shift in perception, and suddenly there's a kingdom that's opened up inside of us. And when that kingdom opens up, it can take an ordinary life and make it extraordinary. This is Robert Sidell. We're going to have to go to a break now. When we come back, we'll have Reverend Ernie and Reverend Janet here with us. Stay with me, those of you on Facebook, though. And we'll be back in just a minute. You're listening to The Gateway Show. Stay tuned. Back in a moment. Robert Sidell speaking. So, my friends, whether it's you, Denise, Linda, Annabella, Christopher, Debbie, or anybody listening at a different time, just dare to open yourself right now to the ocean of love. Imagine how excited you'll be when you start to surge with that infinite love. Imagine how excited you'll be when you're plugged into infinite joy. Imagine how excited you'll be when people come up to you and ask you why you're so happy. What's your secret? Because you have so much joy. Imagine the good you can accomplish. Imagine, just let your mind dwell on these things, that you have access to infinite love, even as we speak. Hold on now. Let me see if I can get Reverend Ernie and Janet on the line. Hold on just a second here. Hold on. No Ernie yet. Hopefully he'll be here in a second. But I want you to imagine infinite joy, infinite peace, and infinite grace awakening now in your life. Oh, there's Janet. Okay, great. Hi, Janet.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, oh, she just turned sideways. There, that's good. Perfect.
Yeah, I just got to move it. Wait, hold on. Maybe I'll put it there. That'll be better. Yep. And then, is Ernie here?
I don't see Ernie yet. I don't know what's going on. Let me try texting him.
Okay. Well, I got right in. I didn't have a issue getting in.
He'll probably be there in a second.
Yeah. Maybe so.
I just said, oh, here he is. Here he comes.
He's coming?
Well, I don't know. Ernie, are you coming? I see his face. I mean, I see his name. We'll be back on the phone in just a second. You there,
Yeah,
Ernie?
I'm here. I don't know. Can you hear me, Robert?
Yeah, I hear you, but I
Oh,
don't see
it
your
says
visual.
I can hear you.
I don't. Your face is not showing up, Ernie.
Uh,
What's going on?
yes, for some reason the internet is slow or something here. Having some internet issue.
Huh, that's strange.
Uh,
Are you at home or some? Hi, this is Robert Sidell. You're welcome you back to the Gateway
I'm
Show.
at home.
We're going to have Janet and Ernie share a message with us in a moment. They're both on right now. So, well, I don't know. It seems like your visuals. I think you're on the. You have your camera turned off, Ernie. I'm almost sure. There's a little
Oh,
there's a
let
little
me see.
camera.
The video.
The video exactly. It's turned
Okay.
off. And
Okay, let's see.
there it is. There you
Oh,
come.
here.
There
Let's
you
see.
are.
Oh, there it is. Sorry.
No, that's all right. It's all
That's
good.
what I thought it was too. Yeah.
All right. Good shape. All right.
Okay.
So I've been having fun talking about the gift we can share as we move through life, the love, the joy, the healing. So, Ernie, what do you have to share with us tonight?
All right, Robert. Thank you. The topic of the prayer is about how to deal with aging successfully and happily. Dear Lord, thank you for this blessed day. Thank you for giving us opportunity to experience this life journey. Guide us to be in awareness as to how to deal with aging successfully and happily. Assist us from within to focus and witness change as we age. Lord, we pray to recognize your divine grace, which is available to all mankind, and transform that grace into success and happiness, changing and adapting our lives. Thank you for blessing us with thoughts and feelings to make sound, good decisions and focus in our life journeys as we age to deal with change successfully, creating heaven on earth. And so it is. Amen.
I love how you always end that way, Ernie. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
That's a powerful idea. Heaven on earth. I believe we honor God and creation by seeing this world as a heaven and letting it unfold in our own lives. That's our own unique way of trying to elevate the world consciousness. So I think that's where we can make the biggest difference in our lives. So I really appreciate you always praying like that and opening your mind to that. It's very kind, very loving kind of words. All right. Reverend Janet, what do you have to share with us tonight?
Well, when I saw your topic, I knew I had this little booklet that came from Unity Church. And there was an article in there by another minister who had a friend who died at 97. It's just close to the time, your dad died at 99 and a half. So, and this is what she said: aging gracefully takes courage and humor. And people who age with grace have an approach to life worth emulating. So what this lady taught her friend who died at, her name was Juanita: have a passion or interest that keeps you vibrant. Be who you are. Create the life you want. Be grateful, be kind, and to pray. So I missed not everything you said, but those are what she said you needed to keep doing. Especially I agree with all of it. I think we become who we are more as we get older than
I know
we
we
did.
do. So what were the three things she said to do again? What did she say?
No, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 actually. Have a passion or interest that keeps you vibrant.
Okay.
Be who you are. Create the life you want.
Okay.
Be grateful. Be kind. And the last one was pray.
Yeah. Well, I like that. That's a good formula. That's a good formula. So,
What's it good for? Let's see. I'm just saying. Oh, the people who age gracefully have a beautiful mind, a beautiful heart, and a beautiful soul.
well, you certainly knew my mom. I don't think you ever met her, Ernie, but that's one of the things. She smiled a lot. Do you remember meeting my mom?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, she did. She seemed very peaceful all the time.
and in her case, even in towards the latter part of her life, she had some degree of dementia, but or something. Who knows what label you want to put on it? But but in spite of that, she seemed quite happy, didn't she? I think you saw her multiple
Uh-huh.
times.
I
And I think,
did
and
at your meeting.
she smiled a lot. And I think that's for those of you out there. You want to age well, smile a bit more. Get those muscles on your face some exercise, and it'll make us happier, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it says be kind. It didn't say smile, but if you do all these other things, you know, um, I just think you are smiling because you're doing all those other things, right?
Right. I
So I
mean,
don't know how much time we have, but I was gonna, I did open the course book to something and it opened up, but it was on the what do you call it?
go
The
ahead.
lesson where you're reviewing. But
Okay,
I
go.
picked one of
Okay.
it real fast. I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. I want the peace of God. The peace of God is everything I want. The peace of God is my one goal, the aim of all my living here, the end I seek, my purpose and my function and my life. While I abide where I am not at home, I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. I find that important because as we age, our body does start shifting and changing, right?
It does. I mean, I think all three of us on this right now have been pretty lucky how we've aged, but still, doesn't really matter. I mean, we're in bodies that gradually have certain problems, for lack of a better way to put it. And if we're lucky, they're not too serious and they don't interfere too much. But the bottom line is, if we don't, and hopefully we can maintain our bodies a little bit, and that helps too. But still, you can't, just like my dad, you can't stop the turn of time, can you?
No,
And we're not
no,
supposed. I don't think we're supposed to either. To be really honest with you,
no,
it makes it
no, but
press.
if we're, yeah,
Go ahead. No, go
yeah.
ahead.
No, no, that's okay. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
But we're going to run out of time in a second. Do you have any final thought, Ernie, about uh, your wisdom on aging or anything about it at all? You want to share?
Oh, well, I tell you what, we age. I mean, everybody ages, and I'm happy. I'm happy every day. That gives me, you know, younger, I guess, younger look, I guess.
Yeah, you do look young. You're
Yeah,
you're 77, aren't you?
I'm 78.
See, you're in great shape. You're in great shape. Wow. Boy, and so are you, Janet. I won't tell your age, but Janet is also in great
I
shape.
don't care if you tell my age. You can tell my age.
You're
I'm not like,
71, right?
yep, same as you.
Same as
Yeah.
me. But we have the same hairdresser. No, I'm just teasing. All right, my friends. I just want you to know it's been a pleasure being here. Remember, God is good, miracles are real, and the best is yet to come. If you want to age well, smile a lot, share a lot of love, and you know what? The best really will be coming.
Yeah.
God bless each of you. Until we meet again next week, this is Robert Sidell. God bless. Bye bye.
Bye. Have a good
Bye.
week. Have a good week, everyone.
All
You too.
right.
Bye-bye.